What's up, guys? Good evening, afternoon, morning, night, whatever it is when you find this video. Big shout outs to the African Superstar family. It's the one and only Gina Ifoe, the African Superstar, back at it again with a live stream. I want to talk about this topic today. And I first want to give a big shout outs to the African Superstar family, the customers of theafricansuperstar.com. Head over to my website. Scrolling across the bottom, www.theafricansuperstar.com. Big shout outs to our members only, those of you with the circles next to your name that support our platform on a monthly basis. And big shout outs to the lovers of the African Superstar music. Yes. Oh, hold on just a second. Oh, boy. Jeez. Sorry, guys, technical. Sorry. What's up, Joe Lee, representing for our members only. She's here. Make sure you guys hit the like on this topic. Today, I want to talk about this topic. I talk about this topic a lot. As you guys know, I'm not a parent, but I'm quite passionate about the young people and quite passionate about illuminating a lot of opportunities and, you know, just the truth and empowering and preparing our young people for tomorrow. I talk a lot about what we should be doing, what we're not doing. And so I want to pose the question of when will we start educating our own children? This video was actually motivated today by a very well-known figure in Ghana that posted a touching tribute today to the Queen on their social media. And obviously, you guys know my standpoint on the Queen. I did a whole video talking about it in regards to, the very factual history of this particular queen. And as it pertains to me, as someone who resides in Ghana, obviously, this is the queen that was on the throne when Ghana sought their independence. With that being said, many West Africans that are just expressing all this grief and gratitude and all of these things to this particular queen, it's rather an oxymoron in my opinion. And I think that with the fact that we do not exclusively educate our own children and impute what is important and what pertains to them, what is relative to them, this is a phenomenon that will continue. This well-known figure is someone who spent several decades of their life living in the UK. And what I see is many, children of migrants and things like that begin to assume the new culture of wherever they're living. So although they may be an African or although they may be a Spanish person or whatever, they begin to take on the culture of wherever they're living. We see this in the Black American community. We see that here in Europe. We see it in the UK. People begin to kind of adapt. And so therefore you have Africans, that are assimilating into British life, so to speak. The only way to deal with this, the only way to eradicate the confusion is to take control and ownership of what our children are learning. Obviously, I'm never a proponent of violence and aggression. I just think that by empowering our own people with their history, they will be so much more equipped to navigate life. They will develop leadership skills. They will develop confidence. They will see themselves in a different light. Right now, we are letting everyone educate our children. Everyone but us. And even if they're on the continent, they're receiving foreign curriculums. That's actually a status symbol to take your children to a school where there's an American curriculum or British curriculum in Ghana and probably other African nations. Essentially, if you knew your history, you would think that it's kind of silly to celebrate the very queen that was in a sense oppressing your country. I do understand her mother um was, much more directly involved than she was, because her mother was actually the one that, you know, was in control when a lot of these things were instituted in the beginning. However, she's kind of guilty by default. And, under her rule, there's been no reparations, there's been no acknowledgement for the role that her country has played in our countries. And, we need to take responsibility of the education of our children. I was speaking to a good friend the other day, who has an adult child, but recently gotten married. And her husband obviously wants a child. And we both agreed. I'm thinking it's homeschool, because I know what these school curriculums are providing, and I'm not satisfied with it. And I know that it can be challenging for us to maybe, work in homeschools and things like that. Finding one in our area, or finding one that we find suitable and, that caters to our needs. But at the end of the day, you know, if you want something done correctly, you've got to do it yourself. Anytime you're waiting on someone else to do something, you are subjected to that person. We know what effect this education is having on our people. We know that it's not equipping them with what they need. We know that. And it's time to take some action. The decades that we have spent talking about the miseducation of our children could have been better spent by the implementation of different curriculums that will prepare them for the future. We want a different future for our people. We want a different future for our homelands. Where exactly do we think it's going to come from? Do you think it's going to come from the few, of us, the minorities of us? Let's just face the facts. A lot of us that are in this migration period, we are adults. We've already lived a good amount of our life so far. So, our focal point has to be on the next generation and positioning them to give us what we need, what we want out of our people. Do we want our kids to give the homeland away? Do we want our kids to no longer create families and observe tradition? Do we want our kids to just be slaves to, the corporate world, or have no industry or skills or trades of their own? Well, if the answer is no to these things, then what are we strategically doing to prevent that from happening? Because what we're doing right now, a whole lot of nothing, is not preparing them. And although I know it's, being a parent or a guardian is no small feat. It can be very, very challenging. But I would say if there's anything in the world that you want to work hard at, it should be your legacy. It should be your next of kin. If there's anything that makes you get, to be honest, it's you guys a lot of times that makes me be super resilient. Because I know that there's a lot of people that don't do what they say. There's a lot of people that don't have the courage. And there's a lot of people that need an example, quite frankly. I found a reason that's bigger than myself to keep me going. And I think that our future, our youth, is a huge reason to keep us going when we experience difficulties on our journey. That's what keeps us going. I heard from one of the family members on Instagram today, but shout outs to the African Superstar family. I always love when you guys reach out to me. And this person was like, you know what? I love your music. You write great, thoughtful lyrics. You are careful how you present yourself. You make Ghana, the continent, look great. You make it look appetizing. My kids love your songs. And these are the things. It's like, okay, I'm actually making a dent into what I see as an issue. I have so many grievances, so many problems, you know, a lot of the problems with the representation of our people. I have consciously started trying to be a difference in that area. And if so many more of us took that initiative and say, I'm going to do what I can. I don't have all the resources. I don't have, a lot of capital. I don't have this. I don't have that. But whatever I can do, what I have the ability to do, I'm willing to do. We need to take initiative of educating our children, period, point blank. And I'm not just talking about building a school and then putting the same curriculums. I'm talking about creating and innovating a curriculum that suits our children and the needs of our children, you know, period. Because allowing other people to educate them and fill them up with the brim with nonsense that they don't need, that doesn't even pertain to them. A lot of you guys had a reality check when you realized that, oh, the world is different for me as a Black person. If you were like me, you may have gone to private schools, you may have gone to boarding schools where you were definitely a minority. You may have had friends of other ethnicities, and you were a child. So you thought, oh, well, one for all for one. And then one day, you got the reality check. Oh, there's double standards. Oh, you know, yeah. Yeah, these are things you need to be educated on. These are things you need to be prepared for so that when you experience them, it doesn't send you into a deep depression because you don't understand. So many of our people, for instance, are doing therapy. They're going to these psychiatrists and they don't understand their life. And these psychiatrists and whoever will never tell them, yeah, you're living in a land of double standards. Until you know who you are, until you investigate your root, until you have some understanding of how life is going to go, this is going to be the reality. Some people are highly educated and don't understand why they can't escalate corporate. It's called the glass ceiling. Some people, you know, deal with a lot of stereotypes, get judged, and they don't understand it. I have a girlfriend of mine, that sometimes we have these deep conversations and she'll say to me, I don't know why people look at me like this. I don't know why people think about me like this. And I'm like, hello, there are in effect stereotypes that are associated with Black women. There are stereotypes that are in effect in association with Black men, with Black youth. And even though we as individuals may not fit that bill, that is how they see us and how society treats us. You know, it's almost like you have to explain yourself before they would respect you. It's almost like you have to be an exception. You know, they are immediately sizing you up based on your appearance and things like that. We need to adequately educate our children on these things. I think probably the Chinese, and I talk a lot about the Chinese because, in my opinion, they got the juice. You know, they have figured out how to uh, grow their nation into a superpower. They have created a strong sense of nationalism. You know, many young Chinese people are making it happen in their nations. And I think that's a testament to, obviously their system is creating these young people. It's not magic, guys. It's not hocus pocus. If you want things, you have to organize the path to get there. You have to create the Sorry guys, they doing. We want our young people to be high performing. We have to create the dynamic that will give us those outcomes. Period. What we're putting into our children right now is not going to get us there. You know, so many of us will even say, "Well, I feel that I'm miseducated." If any of you guys feel like you're miseducated, let me see a number one in the chat. What's up, Isesa? Time with Hetty, I see you there. Big shout outs to you guys. Frank, Lorney's in the building. Big shout outs, family. We got members only representing with the circle next to her name, Miss Jolie. Thank you. SMP, our mission statement: strategy, maturity, patience. You know, if we feel that we've been miseducated, we feel like we wasted a lot of time. You know, me heading in the direction of the corporate world, in my opinion, was a total waste of time. You know, I wish that I would have been put on the right path. You know, um, because prevention is better than cure. I'm doing the best I can at this point in my life, but I'm the kind of person that likes to do things right from the inception and not waste time and be directed, you know? My condolences. I'm sorry to hear that. My condolences to you and your family, sweetie. Sorry. So, these are the thoughts and opinions of the African superstar, as always. This was a thought I had today when I saw, that public figure again. Being a Ghanaian, it's like, fam, what are you doing? You know what I mean? And it's not like you got to come out and be hateful and disrespectful and all of that kind of stuff. Big shout outs to Mr. Shake. What's up, family? How are you? Thank you for stopping by. Big shout outs. Thank you for the super chat. Y'all see he rich. Y'all see that 10,000 Uganda, what is that? Shillings, dollars? I'm not sure. Big shout outs to you. I appreciate it. You know, I need to get like O'Shea. I need to do more, you know, entertainment value videos, but I just can't back away from, I just can't, guys. I just always want to talk sense. I just always want to talk something that I feel is meaningful. And I think this is meaningful. You know, we spend a lot of time and energy on erroneous and extraneous things. And it's like, this is one of the core fundamentals to building and sustaining communities, has to do with the education that our young people are receiving. Malcolm X told us this back in the 60s. You are a fool to let your enemies educate your children. That's what he said verbatim. You just let one of your most precious commodities be handled by anyone. And not just anyone, but people that historically have not had your best interest. And nobody's ever going to teach you how to be a winner. Nobody's going to teach you the tricks of the trade, so to speak. Nobody's going to teach you how to come out on top. Nobody's going to teach you how to accentuate, your innate talents and gifts. That's why so many of our young people in these environments have low self-esteem and lack confidence and lack leadership. They're so unsure of themselves because we're letting just any and everybody handle our kids. And it's crazy to me. We look crazy sometimes pledging allegiance and having all this affinity towards institutions that oppress us, both modern and historically. Would we have that affinity if we were learning things properly? If we were teaching our children what they need to know? Would this be an issue? Isaias is talking about She's on a Black online dating site, and she's seeing a lot of nonsense in regards to, potential partners. If we taught our men to be better men, to understand their role and responsibility in the household and the family, if we taught our women how to be mothers and how to play their part, and if we taught each other the importance of each other, teamwork, our counterparts in the community, history and tradition, would we be in the state that we would be in today? You know, the reason we're in the state that we are in today is because we have let other people take control of all of those things. We have let other people teach our children that some people are superior and some people are inferior. We have let other people teach our children that there's nothing in the motherland and that the motherland is a desolate place and they should just feign any type of association. We have let them teach us about inclusion, whereby abandoning our own communities. We have bought the concept that we should not be entrepreneurs and become instead lifetime students and slaves to the game. And all of this is the residual because of the education that we receive. We don't get put on the right track from the beginning, and therefore we are misguided. We're going in a totally wrong direction. Some people can never even get off the path once they get on the path because the damage that has been done. During your formative years, that's when you really develop. Okay, that's why all the other, ethnicities and foreign countries is very competitive with their youth in regards to, the challenging education that they receive because they know that they need to get everything into these kids or the majority of stuff into these kids when they are young. Instead, we are spending a lot of time teaching our children outdated history that doesn't pertain to them, religion, grooming them to migrate and, life in the West. Guys, big shout out to African Millennial. Thanks for showing up. Oh, it's been a minute. I just thought about you the other day. So I hope you're doing well. Big shout outs to you. So yeah, this is my topic. I appreciate everybody being in here today. I know it's a little somber, but when I'm abroad, the type of topics that come to mind as I see and interact with the community around me, and it's so sad. When I see a lot of the young people, I'm just deeply concerned because they have a perspective that is really not going to serve our initiatives. And, you can see the divide between not just the older generation, but even like my generation. Things in my generation, our perspectives on a lot of things. The younger kids, 18, 19, 16, they see something else. Big shout outs. This is a fact. This is a fact. And I believe that a lot of this holding on to European culture and American culture is because we don't have any pride in our own culture, so we're trying to escape it and cling on to something else. I'm going to just mention this and I'll wrap up soon. Please, guys, make sure you hit the likes. Stop whatever you're doing right now. Stop, drop, and roll. Hit the likes. And you can also be like O'Shea and hit them super chats. Hello. So obviously, some of you guys may or may not remember, but last October, I was in the US. I went to visit family. And during that time, I did some presentations at local schools. One of those classrooms was my junior sister's classroom. She's a teacher in Ohio. Big shout outs to Miss Alani Gray. Holla. Yes. My light-skinned twin. And the other was a friend of mine from a previous church I attended. And I basically prepared a PowerPoint presentation about my life in Africa, my beginnings in Ohio and my world travels and things like that. And When I tell you that these students, which both classes were high school students, okay, they hung on to my every word. I mean, there was not a cell phone that went off during my presentation. There was not a pin drop. There was nobody trying to be funny and make laughs or jokes. They were just riveted. And when I gave them a space to ask questions, they asked questions. They were just in awe. And it led me to understand that if we took the initiative to pour into our young people, obviously not all, but some would retain that. And I knew how powerful it was for those students to see someone from their own hometown doing the things that I'm doing, you know? And it wasn't difficult. I asked, I put a post up on my Facebook. Hey guys, I'm in town. If any of you guys have classrooms and would like me to come speak to your students, it was just that simple. Now think about all my viewers, you know, plus many more. A lot of you guys have become world travelers. A lot of you guys are doing things in the continent or have moved to the continent. Go back to your local area, you know, talk to the kids, share with them what you were not privy to know at that age. You know, I mean, God only knows had I had someone like, the African superstar show up in my school. I wore traditional dress. I came there and I was proud. I showed them I showed them real pictures and footage of the continent. That is life changing to some people that have never had exposure. And these are the simple things that we can be doing in the interim of us doing what we need to do. A lot of you guys maybe might have sent money to that Dr. Umar, you know, believing that he's going to do whatever. It's crazy because it's like millions of Black people depending on one person to do something that is not complicated to do in regards to starting schools. Why someone else doesn't take initiative and say, we've been waiting for this school for years. There's a need right now. Let's go ahead and do it. Lil Jon went to Ghana and opened up 2 schools. You got Akon, who's returned to Senegal and building his own smart city and stuff. This is how we give back. This is how we meet the needs of our people. Individuals like us stepping up and doing it, not waiting on government, not waiting on anyone else, but just saying, okay, what can I do? That's community. So anyway, I've talked long enough on this occasion. I'll be back to regular videos very soon. I love you guys. Big shout outs to the African Superstar family. Thanks for everybody who stopped by. Please make sure you like the video, subscribe. We're trying to get to 3,000 subscribers. We need 50 more to drop the next music video. Okay? So big shout outs to you guys. And I'll see you again very soon. Until we meet again, stay Black and true. If you ain't Black, just stay true.